Morning, everybody. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Melanie.
Thank you for coming. I will introduce you to Anne in a second, but just before we do, could you pop into the chat what state you're in? And by that I mean location, not
well, it's nearly midday, mostly midday or after, so we hope everyone's awake by now.
Yeah, hopefully awake and sober. So if you can pop in what state? WA. Yeah, I thought we had a few from WA and a few from Victoria today. New South Wales, cool. Central Coast, that's a nice place to be.
Yeah.
And if you also want to add what industry, then Anne can make sure that she talks about things that are relevant to your industry as well. And we will cover everything, but I thought we had quite a few people.
Disability, yep.
Oh, yeah, real estate.
Oh,
a mixture, of course. So there's quite a few of you today are from Victoria and WA, so Anne will probably focus on those, but you'll cover the rest as well, hey? So, okay, awesome, thank you. Keep popping them in if you want, and Anne will make sure that she talks about your specific examples. So let me introduce you to our fearless leader. So Anne's your presenter today. I'm just going to introduce herself in a moment, but Anne's the owner of the Training College here, the RTO, and has been so for quite a few years for your students.
Yes, 16. I've been sitting here.
So just before you introduce yourself properly, just a couple of quick housekeeping things I should make sure I cover. Pop anything in the chat as you go. Anne is going to explain this. You'll see that there's a bit of jargon that we'll try not to use because, but can't help it. Look, as you say, you've been doing this for 16 years. So any questions that you've got that either need clarifying or any questions about how does this apply to my specific situation, just drop them in the chat in the Q&A. And I'm Melanie, I'm driving the computer and I will keep an eye on it for Anne and I will let you know if there's any questions that need answering. Otherwise Anne will work through, and then at the end you're happy to stay on and answer any questions. So Anne will make sure basically that if there's got questions, we'll make sure before we hang up we've covered them, and then if you're really lucky she might even tell you a bad joke at the end. That's usually how she clears the room. All right, so would you like to introduce yourself, Anne, please?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Anne. Yes, as I said, I've been here for the last 16 years, so I own and we develop the company. So it's my husband Shane that's on the screen there as well, and Melanie is also another fellow business owner, a friend, and very involved in her own business as well as directing ours. So we've got over 40 staff, over 1,000 students around the country. So Western Australia, yes, we've done lots of training in Western Australia. We've done lots of work with Kwinana Council, and up north in the Kimberley region and different areas and things as well, Indigenous communities, and lots of council work over in Western Australia, and work with lots of other individuals. Shane has spent many hours flying on aeroplanes throughout your state and across to the East Coast. Very familiar with you and great to have you on board. We have students, Victoria people, yes, we've been training down there as well. So we have students involved in this program in every state in Australia, all size industries, and the approvals are coming through. So we'll talk about the program and how it can suit you. But just let you know that, yes, we're around, been here for a long time, not planning on going anywhere. So looking forward to working with you.
And you will cover, I know, but these guys are one of the training providers that actually trains people in useful stuff. They're not one of these like dodgy tick and flick and get out of there kind of providers. I mean, you have an amazing completion rate, especially considering most of your courses have been run like as distance courses for quite a while.
Been online for the last sort of 12 years. So
before they invented the internet.
Well, they did nearly, because I was in things that were like e-learning assessment panels and discussions of things when it really wasn't a thing. So when coronavirus hit the end of beginning of sort of whenever it was now, last year, our students were already online, trainers were already online, nothing had to change for us.
Yeah, right. And so like everyone else, we had to race and pivot, may I say that word? Okay, so what are we going to cover? Let's just talk about what we are going to cover today. So, just quickly before we do, you were going to show a list of the sort of industries that you've got approvals for.
Yes.
Let me just bring that up.
Okay, so we've got all states, new and existing workers, part-time and full-time people. And so have a look at all of those different things. So I see we've got some financials people in there. We've definitely got NDIS organisations. We've got aged care people that are coming through, and all of these other sorts up there. So if you relate to any of those sorts of things, then yes, we've got big companies, small companies and everything. So know that while you're joining us today, we will be able to work with you and help you out.
So what is this thing that you're going to talk about?
Okay, so The BACFO, its official name is the Boosting Apprenticeships Commencements, but it's not just for apprentices, it's new, not just only for commencements or anything extra. So everybody in the world just calls it the BAC program and don't worry about everything extra because, yeah, it all gets too complicated otherwise.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's been a bit of stuff on the news about the program, but they very much talk about it as if it's only for apprentices, like 17-year-old plumbers.
Yeah.
And yet it's not. It's basically for mostly new hires and a few existing ones, but there's a whole range. Like you've got leadership diplomas and all sorts of things.
Oh yeah. So yes, definitely. So if you can picture somebody just like me, then I would be eligible. So
you're not 17.
I'm not well, no, I'm not 17. So it's 50% wage rebate from the federal government up to $28,000 per employee who involves in a professional development program with us. So yeah, it's for any size business, any size company. You can be not-for-profit, you can be a council. The only thing you can't be is working for the state or the federal government.
Right, the council's fine.
Yes, the councils are fine, yeah. So it's for your new employees and some existing employees. And so, yeah, up to $28,000 for a wage rebate for your people. And they do a qualification course with us. So with us, it's certificate 4 or diploma.
And so what you're going to explain today is who's eligible, how they're eligible, what courses, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, how much you keep and all those good things. Okay, so it's a wage subsidy for, well, it was 100,000 places, but it's now they've got 200. How many they got now?
200 at the bottom, 217.
217,000 places have been done. So the government.
They call government maths. We make 100,000 places, and so far we've used
217. So yeah. So what happened is that they initially brought it out. It is for coming back out of COVID. So everybody in Victoria, where you have been locked down, this is to help you stimulate and bring back on new people. So the government has got that they will pay half the wages for your new people coming back through. When the program was released at the end of last year, it was very much chewed up by big companies, putting on lots of their stuff.
Existing workers, everybody was eligible.
So the big companies got in, who were very organised and chewed up lots of spaces. So the government have been using this whole time since then to kind of close the gap in, because what they really want now is not existing workers. They want those newbies out there getting trained, getting upskilled and things.
But newbies not necessarily kids.
No, newbies aren't kids. So you can be a middle-aged person just like myself. You can have university degrees. It doesn't matter. So it's for qualified, unqualified, experienced, non-experienced. It's just for anybody who is that you want to bring on that is prepared to upskill and gain some quals.
Okay.
So it is a Richie program. Yep, this is the official sort of tick there. And to say that, yes, if it sounds too good to be true, it isn't. This is one of the things that you should actually be taking advantage of, because it's just a great deal.
I saw that was one of the testimonials that you put on the website that said, this sounds too good to be true. And I'm like, should that be a testimonial?
Because, yeah, it is. So Melanie and I are both employers. We both use the program for having brought on new staff.
Yeah.
And we're getting lots of extra projects done in our businesses and different things. So we can testify as business owners and employers that, yes, the program's real. Yes, the program works.
I was looking at my bank account yesterday and 4 lots of $7,000 landed in yesterday morning. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. It was the subsidy for the quarter for 4 of my people.
Great.
Okay, so yeah, obviously it's beneficial to employers. So the money thing is one thing, but there are other benefits for employers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge benefit for you, because what happens is every time you bring on a staff member and they're doing a training course, their personal development is improving, their communication skills are improving, their motivation is improving. They want to be employed, with you and staying with you. So you get to upskill them. You'll get to tell us what you actually want to cover with them. So yeah, you get to train, keep, motivate the staff. You get well inducted. As well as that, the government gives you a wage rebate.
If anybody's having trouble getting staff at the moment, do you want to just put a comment in the chat so that we know whether that's something we should talk about?
Yeah, because that's a big thing.
It does seem to be a thing, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The thing is, yeah, everyone's just trying to, yes, I can employ when I can, but we'll come up with some ideas and things for you here too. And
at least this way, if you've got someone who's got a gap in their skills, you can perhaps hire them anyway and fill the gap with the course and get the money as well. So what about, why would employees do it though? Because basically you're saying to your staff, do this course and I'm going to get some money. So what's in it for them?
Okay, so they will be gaining the nationally recognised qualification. So it'll be a certificate for or diploma in leadership management or business or project management, depending what their job role is. So that stands them in good stead for employment opportunities and promotion with yourself, or later, if they're not with your company anymore, with another company. So that's number one. Look, they get a pat on the back. So, and they're going to learn the latest skills. So we are talking lots of digital marketing skills. We're talking lots of digital communication skills, working on teams and everything extra. So all of the new skills that you need coming out of COVID, we're covering in our courses with them. So for them, it's also, if that you've got them on a traineeship, so a program that's over sort of 12 months, then they skip the fear of being that last on, first off person. So it gives them that peace of mind to say, oh, well, at least I know I'm here for 12 months or more.
A bit of job security.
A bit of job security. You get to induct them really well. They get inducted really well into the organisation because you'll be working on your policies, procedures and systems. So yeah, no, it's definitely a win for the employees.
So we've actually got a really good question here from Nicole. I know you're going to cover it in a bit more detail in a slide about it, but she said, what is the definition of new employee? Is it someone that was, like, if I hired someone 1 month ago, would that be? Yeah,
we will cover it, and that's great. So Nicole, I want to talk to you later, straight after.
Yeah. So the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So new employees, depending on your state. So very quickly, I will come back and cover it again. New employees are anyone you've employed in the last 3 months full-time, last 12 months part-time, and anyone you're going to employ between now and the end of March.
Yeah,
so very brief.
So we've got a slide that sort of spells it out a bit more, but yeah, there's actually quite a few people fall into that category, more than
as we're opening up again. And Victoria, I will let you know now that if you were closed for COVID, they can work around those dates as well. So if you laid off people and then you can't brought them back on,
then that time that they're off is not necessarily counted
and things. So yeah, there's a bit of flexibility there.
And if you've had casuals or part-timers there for 20 years and you upgrade them, anyway, you're going to explain.
Yeah, I'll cover all those ones.
So before you get into that detail, who specifically is eligible?
So yep, as we just covered, all of the councils, any employer, any size, any industry, any location. So this is basically for everybody. So don't think it's not for you. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not for you, because it probably is.
What about us people that are from across the Dutch?
Okay, well, those people that have been stuck here for so many months, you're all eligible too, the New Zealanders and the Aussies, and anyone if you are on a PR eligible visa. So the skilled migrants aren't, but nearly everybody else. But keep in mind, this is not just your junior staff, your professionals and your experienced staff are eligible.
And actually, skilled migrants who have got a P in front of their class of visa, so they're on a skilled migration, but they were allowed to stay permanently, they are eligible as well. Anyone who's allowed to stay permanently is eligible.
Yeah, and the Kiwis, we just didn't let them go home. So we'll
actually, I think you were happy to let us leave. I think it was New Zealand wasn't letting us in. Anyway. And you already mentioned that state and federal governments aren't eligible.
Yes, they're not.
Okay, a couple more statistics that I just threw in that I thought you might like to share.
Okay, so as you said, looking at people like myself, so for being claimed by places that are over 35-year-olds. So don't just think about your young ones, think about all of your ages. 40% of the places being with small business. So, and again, you don't have to think about traditional trades, because 60% aren't from traditional trades. So there is a skills shortage out there at the moment. It is hard getting people, but we will cover that. So keep in mind that as you are advertising, that lots of other people are advertising there as well.
And yeah, interesting record numbers of jobs being advertised, which part of that is from the bounce back from the southern states, but part of it is just that.
So yeah, when you find people, but definitely put them on and use this wage subsidy to help you out.
Grab them, even if it means you're grabbing them before Christmas instead of waiting. Everybody I talk to is going to hire in January, so if you're thinking of hiring in January, you should probably hire now.
Hire now, and yes, we'll work that through.
Okay, so can you explain the new employee definition?
Okay, so yes, so the new employees is anybody that you're hiring for new. So new being in the full-time in those last 90 days, part-time less than 12 months. So think about anyone from the end of August, beginning of September now, anybody that you've put on in this whole year. So yeah, that you've employed, they're definitely included.
So you can, so if you've hired them since like December last year,
or
the end of August this year, full time, and so you can it doesn't have to be just, you can basically backtrack it. So if you've already put them on.
Oh yeah, yes. So, but we just need to be very careful, find out what date they start and get them registered before those 90 days are up, or those 12 months.
Okay.
And casuals, you can move from being casual to part-time or full-time. Now, often if you are employing casuals, have a good look at it to see whether or not they're really going to be part-time people anyway. Because if they've got consistent hours and all of that sort of, they know about your IP of your business and you need them to help you run it, check with your HR specialist, because they're liable to be part-timers.
And if they're doing, and you can average the hours over the month for this part-time, for these traineeships. So if you're doing like a certificate 4, they've got to do 21 hours a week. So, but it's 84 hours a month or something. So you could have someone who's routinely doing 3 days a week for you now as a casual.
Yes.
If you decided to make them into a part-timer instead, because like you say, they possibly already are.
Yeah.
And rather than then you get 50% of their wages back, basically.
Yeah. So, and as big staff become more harder to get in the new year, then it may be better to lock them in for being part-time with you.
Yeah, and then it's like you give them security and then you hopefully get them steps as well.
Yeah.
There's another option too as well. Which
okay, your part-timers you can upgrade to full-time. And no matter how long they've been there as well.
So they could have been there for 20 years.
Yeah. And with that wage subsidy, you definitely, you'll basically have them free for the next 12 months, I think, for the extra hours.
Yeah, so if they were doing like 20 hours a week or 19 hours a week for you now as a part-timer, you move them to 38 hours a week and you get a 50% subsidy, then depending on what the salary is, because it's capped at that 56,000, potentially you're not paying anything for those extra hours. And that's where you can get all your projects done, right? We've been getting lots of projects done. And you're going to talk about free courses in a minute, because in some situations the course might be free. Those last couple, that ones that have been there for years and upgraded, don't get a free course, but they still get the wage subsidy.
Yeah, still get the wage subsidy.
Okay. So here's a little off the website.
Yes, so if you're looking at putting on any of the people in these roles, or if you have had people in those roles, so marketing, operations, your administration people, anyone in business development, project management, compliance, if you're in civil construction, any HR people you've put on, anyone from local government, workplace health and safety people. Just your general supervisors and managers. Yeah, general supervisors and managers. So these are the people that we have been, had all approvals for. And we've got courses for. So keep in mind all of those people. So you will there, I see some NDIS and aged care workers, some organisations. No, sorry, I don't do individual support for your Cert 3 individual support. So what you will have to be able to put those people on with another company, but keep in mind all your supervisors and all your admin staff can definitely come and work with us. And we've got lots of specific programs for aged care and NDIS. And you can do like a dual quality business and quality auditing and things like that. So we do lots of internal compliance with aged care and NDIS organisations. So do talk to us. But just for your Cert 3 individual support, we don't offer that. So the best thing would be to have a quick chat with you. Yeah, have a chat with me and I'll let you know where you can sort of find those people. All right, so the course options that you do have. Yes, so it will depend on your state. So those that are in Western Australia, sorry, you don't own all the list is a bit shorter. Your list is shorter in the diploma realm. So you get to do a diploma of leadership management and a combined diploma of business in Western Australia, but that covers all of your supervisors and your managers. The other states, you've got basically most of all of these that are listed on the box there. And in WA, they can still do most of the certificate 4s, can't they? Oh yeah, Cert 4s are good. It's just the diplomas. So each state has a different set of courses that we are allowed to offer. Of course they do. Yes, and slightly different rules. So what happens is we'll give you a sheet with that's eligible for your state, that you can then pick from depending on the roles of the people you've got. Because this is where people get confused. It's like, okay, what can my people do? But you can basically give them like a Google sheet, then click on the tab for their state. For their state, yes. You'll get one. If you're in New South Wales, you'll get one specifically for New South Wales. Western Australia, you'll get things. Now, we do work with lots of national companies that have got people in multiple states, and we make it very streamlined and simple for you too, to comply for each of your states. Okay, what about courses for existing employees? Because you touched at the beginning about there are a couple of little options. Yeah, a couple of smaller by the day. Yeah, so if you have got people that are supervisors and responsible for workplace health and safety in your organisation, and or updating your policies, procedures around workplace health and safety, then we can look at a workplace health and safety certificate for them.
Or HR person or something.
Yeah, HR person, admin manager who is responsible for those workplace health and safety.
But they actually have to be working in some sort of safety related role where they're responsible for the safety of other people. And
yeah, safety of other people, safety of materials and things like that. And they've got to be doing it for, you can do a part-time traineeship. So if you've got to say somebody that's involved in safety and looking after it for 21 hours a week, but may also be doing something extra as well. So it could be, you could be writing HR for doing HR for others, but you've got a majority sort of time in that. You can do a part-time traineeship and still get the full amount of the wage subsidy.
So, but if you're like a chicken franchise and you're going to put 200 people, all of your people on as a workplace health and safety, that's not going to fly. It's
not going to fly. It's one of these things where the government has really sort of closed the things because other people, not us, but other people were actually saying,
yeah, all my staff are safety officers.
All my staff are safety officers.
Like, no, they're not.
They're not. But yeah, if you're in a higher risk industry where safety is very important, then definitely talk to us about it and we'll see whether or not we can get some of those existing people on. Okay. If you are in civil construction by any means, then yeah, this is a fantastic opportunity for your leading hand supervisors and above.
So this is basically, you could have someone full-time permanent being a leading hand for, you know, a decade, and you can still get the wage subsidy for them or basically for these two courses if anyone's eligible.
So if anyone's eligible, and we'll help you work through that.
So, and this is just your little summary of the existing worker process?
Yeah, process, yes. There is guidelines and we've just got the existing workers and we get approvals through for them all the time. So these are magical little sheets. These ask us that they show that the people have been approved and ask us to do the training with them.
Okay, so that's all fine, saying you're going to get a subsidy, but presumably people have to pay out some money as well.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things you're going to talk about is you're not going to put people in a position where they have to pay out money without knowing whether they're going to get the subsidy, etc. But how much does it actually cost?
Okay, so that will depend again on your state and the courses that we've got going for your state. So basically my prices are the same across the states, but if you happen to be in New South Wales, then we say thank you very much to the New South Wales government because your courses are free for any one of that you're bringing on your new employees. If you're moving your casuals though, you will also pay for the course.
Unless they've been there less than 12 months.
Yeah, so our courses we haven't inflated the prices or anything. They've been same price for the last 3 years. And they're exactly the same prices we get paid for basically our New South Wales clients anyway. So somewhere between $5,000 and sort of $7,600. So basically, if you're putting them on a Cert 4 budget, that you will keep $22,000. Very simple. If you're putting on a diploma, then your budget that you can keep the $20,000 per person. So that's how much you'll gain after you've paid your fees, your course fees.
And I know you're not really talking about them, but there are a few other incentives like reduced work cover premiums and reduced payroll tax and things like that.
Like
some states or most states.
Yeah, and if you're in Victoria, there's some new opening up grants down there as well.
Oh yeah, so, actually if you're in Victoria and you've hired anybody new, there is another $20,000 per person from the state government.
Yeah.
On like if women over 45 or people under 25 or whatever. So yeah.
We've got a link that we can give you for that too. So make sure you access that program as well. But yeah, so basically very quickly for here, budget that you'll keep $20,000 per person and any of the extra incentives.
Cool. So how do people do this? How does this actually work?
Okay, so it's very simple. We give you a sheet, which is your sheet and our sheet. So it's just a Google sheet. It's like an Excel spreadsheet that we drop the names of some people on it that are potentially your new or your existing employees. We work it through to see whether or not they're going to be liable to be eligible. And then we get them off to an apprenticeship centre mob to get them signed up as a trainee. And then so together, yeah, we just identify the people that are going to work, get them signed up, and then we're going to bring them on and organise their training.
Yeah, and then they show you how to do the wage subsidy.
Yes, and so basically in our one sheet, we've streamlined it for you so it becomes a very simple process. You can just keep scrolling around, goes green, blue and yellow. And green's everything that we need to give to the ASA, and the blue is what we need to actually do some training. Yeah, you've got to do some training in this program. And yellow means that you can check whether or not you got paid, like Melanie did yesterday into her bank account.
And the spreadsheet has kind of grown, hasn't it? But it means that you don't have to, because people keep going, what do I do next? And so you basically put all the answers to what do I do next into
just in the one sheet. Follow the tabs and you'll walk it through, and we'll get you registered.
So we've got some good questions coming in. I might just pause and get to and keep dropping your questions in, guys, because Anne's nearly finished the formal part. How do we apply for the rebate if in WA? Where are the forms to apply for this through the federal government? And actually that question probably came in before you said this, but
yeah, that's okay. Okay, so to get the money back, so basically what happens is number one, we identify your people that are going to be eligible. Number two, we're then going to work out a program that, of course, it's going to suit them and their job, because they must be, especially in Western Australia, you must be working in that part of the job for 80% of your time. So if you have got absolutely nothing to do with managing projects, then they're not going to let you do,
they're not going to approve
project management. And you're going to actually have to do a job description to basically show what your people are. So, but your person might be eligible for a leadership management program or a business program. So we just have to look at what the job description is, which is why we can't do your disability people, the support workers. If they're doing 80% of their time doing support working, then they need to be in a support working qualification. Okay, so basically then when we've sorted out those green bits, we get you registered. At your registration meeting with the ASIN, there's a few things that we just tell you to make sure that you've already organised with us, a supervision plan for your workplace, and they've got a job description. And they'll need Medicare cards and different things like that. So we sort of give you a tick box list as to what to make sure you've got for the meetings ready. And then after that, at that meeting, you apply for your wage subsidy there and then. There's a form that they'll send you.
So which meeting is this?
This is with the sign-up meeting to register your people.
So when you meet with the ASIN, they basically sign you up for the wage subsidy at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, and then what happens is to claim that then, the end of each of the quarters, so Melanie's just got a money in, but before that, she would have got an email reminder to say, hi. So if Sally was the person she was signing up, her employee, then she would have got an email reminder saying, hi, put Sally's wage subsidy.
And there's an example of that there on the screen, actually.
Okay, that's an example of the email reminder letter.
Yeah.
And so Melanie would have uploaded her Sally's wage slips for the quarter, uploaded her copy of the training plan to show that Sally was on the training still.
Which you only actually have to do that at the beginning.
At the beginning, right? And she would have done a declaration.
Yes, I have to tick a box to say, yes, she still works here and she's still doing the course and I'm not up to no good and all that sort of thing.
So declaration. And then the government would have looked at Sally's pay slips that Melanie has put up, divided them by 2. And then paid her up to either $7,000 or less if she hadn't paid her $14,000 in the quarter.
Yeah, so just divide it by 2, cap it at 7,000 and pop it in your bank account.
Straightforward. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And again, our Google sheet just walks you all the way through.
Hopefully that answered your question, Jane. If it didn't, just let us know. A couple more questions while we're here. Question from Amanda, if they have a degree, can they still do this?
Yes, you can, definitely. You can have an MBA, it doesn't matter.
You can have a PhD if you want.
You can have a PhD to be a doctor, or you can have a diploma, you can have an advanced diploma, or you can have no qualifications at all. Either way is perfectly fine. The government's not looking at that.
As long as they don't have the exact same qualification.
Yeah, they can't have the exact same qualification.
Which makes sense. Why would you do it twice?
But yeah, you can have a higher level qualification. So, but the qualification just has to match your job role.
Yeah. Yes, so so that's the important thing, isn't it? That the qualification you're enrolling them into has to relate to the job role that they will be doing while they're doing the course.
Yeah.
Not one that you're going to get them to do in 5 years' time or something.
No, so basically you've got to look at what are they doing, and then put them into that job role and match the qualification with it. But we will help you do all of that. We help you do everything. So
yeah, they really do. Now, next question. From Tracy, how many hours to complete a certificate for?
Okay, so basically, depending where your state is, so all of our programs are designed to be working over 12 months. So
there's a reason for that.
There is a reason for that, because your wage subsidy goes for 12 months, but there's also usually 12 units in most of the qualifications. And so even our people that aren't on this program still do a 12-month program.
But in this case, you really don't want them to finish early because your wage subsidy will stop.
Yes, because when you get to the end of it, we have to say that, hi, the traineeship's finished, therefore they won't look at your wages anymore. So that's looking at a unit a month. Now, in each of your businesses, you do need to release them or allow them have some time to be working on their qualification. Now, when they're doing the qualification with us, they're going to be working on your policies, procedures and systems. There is no exams, no essays and no silly little activities. I think we've got a slide on that, haven't we, coming up, Melanie?
Yes, we do.
We might just move to that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, okay. So it's a one-on-one training program. There's no attendance that they have to leave your business for workshops or time on to come to class. They have online access 24/7 because everything is available to them in the student portal. If you would like to see a couple of examples of assessments and things, we can give you access to a sample area of the portal so that you can actually see what they're going to be doing. But no exams, no essays. Somebody asked me yesterday, does that mean they don't do any work? I went, no. I said, so it's very practical because really in the workplace, I haven't asked any of my employees in the last 25 years that I've been running a business to actually write an essay or do an exam.
Not a requirement of their duty?
No, but I do ask them to write policies, procedures, and lots of checklists and systems. So at the moment in our business here, everybody, while we've got these extra people on, everybody's making Loom videos of all of their job requirements.
And writing a million checklists for this back program.
Yeah, writing million checklists and writing all sorts of things. So yeah, so why would I want to make employees write essays and do exams when that's not going to be in their job? But they will have to, so they will be writing lots of updating policies, procedures, using your policies and procedures and checklists. Because believe me, once you've got a checklist in place in the morning, you don't have to come to work because somebody else can check off that they've done the morning jobs and tick off that they're responsible for it.
These guys are going to not come to work and say, Anne said we didn't have to come in.
Yeah, well, I came in slightly later this morning knowing that somebody else would have already been here, done the morning jobs and yeah, things. So you do get to use it as well. Okay, now we have regular tutorials. So they'll be on a one-on-one training program with their trainer. They also get a completion coach, and a completion coach journeys through life with them. So they'll chat to them about the cat and the dog and everything else that's happening. Because if you've got a friend at the moment, you can then clear out everything and then get the rest of your work done. So yeah, they keep motivated, keep them on track. We also have Zoom sessions, and they're tutorials where the trainers are, you can log in and the trainers are there, can answer your questions. So they work on Tuesdays and Thursdays and are really popular with the students because as you're working, if you've got a question, you can just go, oh, okay, and ask the question and the trainer can answer it there and then for you. So yeah, so it works. So we've done over the 12 months period. Lots of our students worked with us for a long time. So this is meet Wendy. Wendy was a student in 2010 with us, and she was just at graduation a couple of nights ago doing some more courses and different things with us. So yeah.
So I think you might have answered Jane's question about how many hours do they have to do, but
yeah, so basically 3
hours a weekish.
Yeah, 3 hours a weekish. We'll get them well and truly sort of covered. Some of the states do have a particular amount. Victoria, we have to.
Victoria has three. It's required that you give them 3 hours a week in work time.
And that can be over the month.
It can be averaged over the. So it might be like one day every 3 weeks or something like that.
So yeah.
And you've got to keep a bit of a diary.
And you keep a diary of different things. But basically what they're doing for their assessments will be the work tasks that they will be good for their business.
Yeah, so it's not like separate anyway. Okay, we've got some more questions before we go on. Lauren says, in terms of the new employee working with you for less than 90 days,
yes,
if their 3-month anniversary is on the 10th of December, for example, do they need to be registered by the 10th of December or just sometime within the month of December?
No, if it's 90 days,
it's the actual days.
It's the actual days. So yes, happy to be working with you straight after. We have a team here in the office who can book meetings with you, and we can prioritise and you and get you up. And
basically, as long as we can get your ASIN meeting booked by the time the 90 days is up, then the rest of the paperwork can follow.
Yes. Now, I will just mention here while we're on training, don't get worried about it now being Christmas. And oh gosh, so I don't want to start my people on training or anything before Christmas. No pressure from us in there. So what happens is we do need to encourage you to get identify the people, get them registered with the ASINs, and then we've actually got 3 months to start training. So if at the end of January suits you better, so we try and get those people organised now, because so many companies are saying they're going to be doing in the new year. Yeah. So our encouragement is to get it organised now, and then we can look at when you want to start your training.
Because although this program closes for new registrations at the end of March, which sounds like a long way away, it's actually not. By the time we have a Christmas break and then a few weeks for ASINs to do paperwork and then some time for state governments to sign off on things, like we're going to be getting close to that time anyway.
Yes.
So the thing is, if you've got people, is to get the process started, and then they can always do their course next year.
Yes, definitely. So no, so that's what we're saying. So we're open until the 17th. So we are saying to employers,
It's not very long, is it?
It's not very long. It's 2.5 weeks time. So everybody, so be communicating with us now. Identify, especially those people that you've already had on for that 12 months or those 90 days, because otherwise that will fit in over Christmas and you're going to miss $20,000.
Yes, that will be sad.
That will be sad.
Okay, one more question before we move on. Jane says, I'm involved with an aged care organisation.
Yes.
Does the back rebate apply for aged care workers studying certificates and diplomas?
So yes.
So yes, if they were doing like certificate 2 or 3 or whatever, then they couldn't do it with you, but they could get a back rebate.
Yes.
But if they want to do a Cert 4 in leadership or a quality auditing course or something like that.
Yeah, compliance, so HR or any of your supervisors. So yes.
Yeah, then yes, they are eligible, which is awesome. Okay, thank you. Throw any more questions in if you like, and I'll make sure that Anne covers them before we go. Next slide. Oh, I've done some highlighters. So you came up with some ideas, Anne, on how people can make the most of this, if you'd like to talk through these.
Okay, so number one, we really do want you to access this, because this is one of the few opportunities that actually the government has. Yes, you can do it, because there's so many times that you'll go, oh no, I can't, I'm not eligible.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Oh no, I didn't lose enough money, or I'm in the wrong place
or whatever. But this one you can. So yeah, really, really, really maximize this one. So if you've got part-timers, make them full-time for 12 months and the wage subsidy will be right. And it's not obliged to be permanent, it can be a contract.
So you could do a 12-month contract and then go back to part-time?
Yes, after. Yeah, so just negotiate it with your people. Okay, if you have got casuals, move them to moving them to part-time or full-time, and it'll cover sort of, your wage bill there. Yeah. And if you've got one person, you can consider hiring a second person on a 12-month contract and having double the employees and get lots of those projects done.
Yeah, and cost the same.
Yeah, it costs the same.
We'll be doing that.
Okay, if you're rehiring stood down staff, and then for the break, then bring them back on and they'll be new as well.
Yeah, so if they've been away from you for 6 months, then they count as new workers. That's another option.
Okay, now this is really important. If you can't find somebody with all the skills you need, hire partially skilled people and fill the gaps with funded training. So what we're recommending for someone rang me the other day and said, hi Anne, I really want a bookkeeper. Can I do a Cert 4 in bookkeeping? And I said, well, a lot of the times is that, for example, that you really want them to learn Xero or MyOb or something, which are often only 2 and 3 day short courses.
They don't need a whole diploma.
They don't need a whole thing in the bookkeeping. So you might want to put them more into a generic business course over 12 months, be able to get their wage subsidy, which will last for you 12 months, and then have those dollars that you're going to get as rebated to send them on a short course to come up to speed with Xero or MyOb, and then use those skills earlier.
And actually, we've had, I think someone said they were in real estate. We've had a few real estate agents putting someone on maybe like Certificate 4 in business.
Yes.
And then using some of the surplus money to pay for their real estate ticket, because you obviously don't want them to take 12 months.
No, you don't want your 12 months. Yeah, you don't want 12 months for real estate course. So we've got lots of employees that are doing that, finding a course that will last for 12 months that they can do here that's not going to be really stressful for the people.
Yeah.
And then using the extra spare dollars to do those short courses and upskilling. So keep that in mind, that if you haven't got, I've been talking to lots of aged care facilities and NDIS who are employing on attitude, and then putting the people on qualifications to actually, and then being able to say they're in training.
You kind of have to in those sectors at the moment, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
And then we'll just summarise at the bottom what you've already talked about. So anybody that you've hired since the end of August, anyone that you're going to hire.
Yeah, anyone that's been full-time less than 90 days or part-time those 12 months, let's get you a Google sheet, and then so you can identify them on the sheet. We can discuss what sort of courses are going to be great for them.
Which actually, I was going to ask you what's the next step. I've got a question from Beverly just before we do that. What if the employee worked with us in one role for a few years and they're now in a new role in the last 3 months? Would they qualify? Okay,
if the employer is the same, then they would be just classed as a existing worker.
Unless they left for 6 months more and came back.
Yeah. So if you just promoted somebody or shifted, one department to the other, then no, the government says they're still part of your employment. But if you do happen to move them from this business to that business and got a legitimate reason, or they've been stood down for 12 months. Or they were
part-time, or they've been okay. So talk about this risk-free guarantee, because then people sort of are like, oh, what if I pay? And
what happens? Okay, so what happens is that there is no stress and no pressure from us. Yeah, we're busy. We've got students already coming on. So, but just we've got room for you still at the moment. Okay, so we've been here for the 16 years. We're not going anywhere. So we're not going to sit here and rip you off. So, because that's what, a fear is a lot of people out there at the moment. So basically, you will pay us nothing until you have been approved. We're going to work through, hold your hand, work through identifying your people, get you registered for the meetings. After those meetings with the ASINs, then those people that are approved, yes, you can pay us if you're not in New South Wales, you'll pay us a deposit just so we can start your training and pay. I don't know why, but my trainers wish to be paid.
Oh, funny that.
Yeah, funny that. Anyway, so yes, we will pay a deposit there.
But you don't pay the deposit until you've got approved.
Until you've got approved. Yeah. And then 90 days later, when the government's given you some money back, you can pay the second instalment on your wage subsidy, on the course fees. So yeah.
And if you get rejected for the government funding,
then there's no
money to pay.
No money to pay. If your people happen to leave in those first 90 days, we will refund. Yeah, and you won't pay, or you just won't pay that second instalment there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it works. So you are looking for people that do want to stay with you the 12 months. So
yeah, it's really not worth it if they're only going to stay a couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay, question from James. So in March 2022, this incentive ceases.
Okay, so yes, the registration ceases. So people have to be registered with the ASIN and basically hopefully approved by the state governments by then as well. And then, but the wage subsidy still kicks in for your 12 months after that.
So the wage subsidy is 12 months from the day that you sign them up.
Yes.
And you can sign them up until the end of March.
Yes, but keep in mind, lots and lots and lots of companies are all going to be wanting to jump in March. So our recommendation is, if you're online with us today, work with us now and in January, so that in February you're having your meetings and you know that you're through.
And if you look at what happened when they first started this program, and it was for existing workers as well as new workers, and all the big companies signed up their existing workers, and then there were lots of people in the queue to sign up their existing workers, and the queue got chopped off.
Yeah, we were some of those.
Yeah,
we had some, got missed by one day. I think I had 3 or 4 people that I was going to get registered, and the guy rang me and said, "No, sorry, Anne, it closed yesterday." I went, "Oh, great."
So we don't know what's going to happen to the queue as of the 30th of March, but it's quite possible that they'll just chop it if they haven't finished processing people. Then,
they're liable just to close it. And it is very popular. And I know that some of the big companies I'm working with are trialing little groups of people with me right now. And if these programs are going well, so they may also, put a lot more of their people on.
So basically what you're saying is get cracking.
Yeah, get cracking, get in, and we will look after you.
Okay, so what do people need to do then from here? What are the steps?
So if you're on today's webinar, we will look at getting you a Google Sheet out. If you've got any questions, we have a website here called Wage Subsidy at Global Training, just because I have people that are dedicated to understanding that program. That they can answer anything there. You can contact us and we'd set up an individual meeting with you over the phone, and we can identify your people and start working through the sheet with you as well.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, there's a couple of things you can have a look at if you want.
Yes, we've got webinar recordings of it. You can see the sample assessments of the student portal. We can show you, we just ran graduation last week, and so we can show you some examples of the graduation. So we had a couple of 100 students graduate last week, and we had another couple of 100. We've done 3 graduations this year.
And why would they want to watch graduation other than the entertainment value?
So graduation is really special. You get to see the types of trainers we've got who are just so passionate about working with their students. There's student testimonials as to the difference that the course has made for them working.
So you get to see a few success stories.
Yeah, you get some success stories, just how much of difference it's made for the people that are when they're completing their qualification.
And if you want to get a sense of what the organisation is like and what
the whole thing, you kind of just get a feel for, oh, okay, I like this organisation, or no, it's not, it's for me. But generally, have a look at it. It's really good. And then you can book a time into my diary for a private chat.
So how do they do that?
Okay, so you can email us at Wage Subsidy, or straight off the top of our website at Global Training. There's a book a call with GTI, and you can have a look under the 50% wage subsidy and you'll find Anne.
Right, so it's globaltraining.edu.au, and just go book a call.
Book a call, and that'll get your time, gets you half an hour time slot in my diary, and I run off my diary.
Now we have another question.
Yeah.
Can we contact the ASIN to discuss and cross-reference information regarding the rebate? I think what you're saying, Jane, is can we verify this?
Yes.
They probably won't call you back because they're so busy.
Absolutely.
Also, we could probably also send, if Jane, if you wanted to email, we could send some links to some of the government websites that explain it as well. So you can set, if you want to read up the government stuff to confirm it. And yes, you can definitely contact us. And my experience with them is the reason that we have someone full-time job calling Athens is because they are just like ridiculously busy and may not call you back.
And they're putting on a lot of new staff that have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we basically tell you everything that you need to know for the meeting so that they don't have to know.
Yeah, because they go, oh no, you can't do that. It's like, oh yeah, actually can.
So yeah, but no. So on your Google sheet, we've got all the official links and everything as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So Jane, actually, if you wanted to just message and get a Google sheet set up, then that will have links to all the different ASIN people that you can, the ones that we know are responsive.
Yeah, because each of the ASINs we've got on your state, again, so West Australia will tell you who you can work with. In Victoria, we'll tell you who you can work with on your sheet. So we've basically summarised everything you need to know for your state on your one sheet.
Because of course each state has different ASINs as well.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely, yeah. If you're in the Northern Territory, you get a great choice of one.
I think Tasmania is the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, and that is the end of our little slideshow. Is there any, if anyone's got a last question, drop them in. If not, I'm afraid that Anne might be going to tell you a bad joke.
Yeah, so from a message from Melanie and I as employers are, maximise this for what you can, because it's the one opportunity, as you know, Melanie just got, what did you get into your bank account?
4 lots of 7,000.
4 lots of 7,000, so she received $28,000.
We're only a small business, so it's not to be sneezed at. Yeah,
into her business yesterday, and she can definitely do some good things for that $28,000. And by being on having her extra people on her projects, she's being innovative, she's setting herself up for next year.
And what it does, what I've found from my business, it gives us the opportunity to set things up, like we've launched a podcast and things that we would not have done if we didn't have the wage subsidy. So it gives us a chance so that when the wage subsidy ends, that we've got, a good solid foundation built.
Yeah, and we've been able to use it definitely for extra projects around here as well. So definitely it's a great opportunity. Take advantage of it. Move quickly with us, and then we will look forward to working with you very soon.
And the other thing that I would just throw in is, having worked with these guys for a little while, is that you guys are genuinely about helping people. So if somebody starts this process with you and it doesn't work out, you're not going to bug them about it. It's basically like, you work out what works for them and give them the best advice.
Yeah.
So, even if you end up being someone who the only people that you can put through a Cert 3 and individual support or something, then Anne or her people will just tell you that and point you in the right direction.
Yeah. So, all right. So and you'll get used to me. I do web desk van newsletters every month.
They may not get used to you, but
so we're real people. Our students are real people. They are not numbers. And so the trainers get to know them, the completion coaches get to know them. And so yes, on my desk van newsletter every month, you will score a bad joke. So just to get you used to it, here's one now. Okay, so this is about a work one. Bill walks into his boss's office site one day and says, "Sir, I'll be straight with you. I know the economy isn't great, but I've got 3 companies after me and I'd like to respectfully ask for a raise." Just what every employer wants to hear. Yeah, someone wants more money. After a few minutes of haggling, the boss finally agrees to give him a 5% raise, and Bill happily gets up to leave. "But by the way," says the boss, as Bill's leaving the office, "which 3 companies are after you?" Bill replies, "The electricity company, the real estate company, and the phone company."
You haven't even cleared the room yet.
I haven't. So there you go. You'll have to be back for my desk van newsletter in December, which is coming out in the next few days.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Looking forward to working with you really soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's nice. But before we hang up, Nicole, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nicole.
Nicole says, "As a student, I love GTI. As an employer, thank you so much. I will definitely something." That is awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. Love to have our students on.